Welcome to Ridge Life. I'm Tim, and today we have an ice storm emergency at the log home. I got up this morning and there was an ice storm brewing, and I made it all the way to work right when the ice hit the Memphis area. And I work about an hour away from the log home here in the Ridge farmhouse. Well, it got icy, icy, icy. Now, the Memphis area was right on that freeze line, and from the Arkansas side, there was inches of ice and snow. Well, over here, we just got a lot of ice. And what has happened is the power has gone out. Power has got out on the log home, not the Ridge farmhouse. So we have got to get power back to the log home. Now, Grandma Carol has got a lot of heat in there. The log home is very, very well insulated, but we've got an outside tankless water heater. It is outside natural gas water heater, and they are self-protecting when they have electricity. When they don't have electricity, they can freeze and they can burst. So we've got to get electricity to the log home now. These tankless water heaters are great, and the ability to have it outside is great as well. But the only disadvantage is when the power goes out and it's freezing like it is now. These things can't protect themselves internally from the coil bursting when the water freezes. Now, if the electricity goes out and you've got one of these, you got to valve it off, open a drain line, and drain that coil. So, because it's supposed to be 16 degrees at nighttime, and this thing would explode or burst internally. But we've got power coming to the house. So let's go ahead and get emergency power set up to the log home, get our well water pump going, make sure that there's not frozen here, get the water cycling through, then we can turn it on, watch it fire up, get Grandma Carol some lights and get her refrigerator going again, and even get her heat going. She has natural gas heat, so the blower doesn't take much current. I think a generator will take care of it. We are lucky we got this generator just before the ice storm hit. I heard it was coming, and I thought I might need it here on the Ridge farmhouse, but instead it's the log home that's without power. So we're going to get that down there, and this thing is going to run the log home without a problem. This is a Predator 8750 watt open inverter, 7,000 watt sustained runtime generator. Now, it being an inverter generator means it has a smooth sine wave output, good for electronics. Anything in the household will be safe running on an inverter generator. Another thing about the inverter generator is much, much quieter than a conventional generator. This thing's a little on the louder side for an inverter since it's so big. It's 75 decibels, but you know, some of them conventionals this size or larger can get very, very loud. It's OSHA and GFCI compliant. Guys, it has a CO, carbon monoxide detector. It will shut itself off in the event carbon monoxide builds up in the area this thing is stored, and that is a huge, huge safety feature you're going to want. Again, quieter, more efficient, being an inverter. We've got to set this thing up. I'm going to show you some of the parts that come with it, get it all set up, get some oil and gas in it, go over some of the features, get it down to the log home because we've got an ice storm emergency to take care of. Open up the accessory box, see what comes with it. Of course, we got the manual. We'll have to read through that and see how much oil and gas we can put on this thing. We've got wheels, we've got a handle. Nice to move it around. It does move around easy. It's a big old thing. It's pretty heavy. We'll see, we've got power cords, got tools, we've got all kinds of bolts to get the hardware on. We've got a funnel to fill the oil up with, and we've got some more brackets. So let's go ahead and get all this thing put together and get it down there. One of the first things we got to do is get off these shipping brackets. They're orange, let you know you got to take them off. They keep the engine from bouncing around and shipping. This thing is rubber mounted to the outside frame. Let it vibrate when it's running, so you got to take these off. You got to use your elusive 10 millimeter to get them off. And once you get these off, then we'll be able to start putting the oil and gas in. Let's get our axle and wheel on. Slide the short end of the axle in first. Put the nut on the outside there. We can tighten that down in just a second. Then we want the large washer, then the wheel, then the small washer, then the nut on the outside. Tighten all this down. We'll do the same thing on the other side. It's a 12 meter on the outside, 17 millimeter on the inside. Tighten them up. Next simple step is to put the feet on, and then we're going to use 13 millimeter socket. Slide those up through there. Get your 13 millimeter nuts on each one. Tighten them down, and then we will have the feet done, ready to move on to the handle. Actually going to need a 13 millimeter wrench. The socket just couldn't get up there, but the 13 millimeter wrench does the job perfectly. The next simple step is to install the handle bracket, and there's 4 holes right there. Put these 10 millimeter bolts through there, tighten them up, and then we'll put the handle on. Install the handle, put the bolt through the small hole at the very end. Once you get that all the way through, put your 12 millimeter nut on, tighten it, and then to lock the handle in place, you've got a pin, and you can slide the pin through, keep it all the way down, locks it in place, or when you got it up, you can put it here to lock it in the up position. The unit does come with 2 ways to start it. You can use the old recoil pull cable method, or you can connect the battery that does come with the generator. And to connect the battery, you just put the plus screw through there and the negative, the black screw through there, and then you'll be able to start it with the startup procedure I'll show you shortly. Unscrew the dipstick. You're going to want to use the funnel that came with it. You're going to use 1.1 quart of 10W30 motor oil. Once you get that poured in, 1.1 quart, you'll pull it back out. And you want to check the level with the dipstick not screwed in. You pull it in, pull it out, check the level. Once you've got it to where it needs to be, you're ready to move on. This unit holds 5.9 gallons and it'll run 15.1 hours on 5.9 gallons of gas. Now, you don't want to use E85 gas. Matter of fact, I'm using 89 octane, and you don't want to use anything with more than 10% ethanol, that's for sure. But this thing will get a lot of runtime, quiet, very efficient. These inverters are awesome. Before we start our generator, we got to turn the fuel valve on. Fuel valve's right over here. You can turn it horizontal there. That allows fuel from the tank to get down into the engine. You shut this off at the end. Now, this break-in period, first 25 hours, we're going to run this thing at maximum 75% load. So that's 75% of the 8750 watt or 7000 runtime watts. So 75% of that for 25 hours. At that point, we're going to change the oil in it as well. Again, put that 10W40 in there. Then you'll be able to run it at full load after that. So fuel valve on. Let's go ahead and start the engine. Before we start our engine, you're going to make sure that you have your oil in it. It does have an oil cutoff, so it won't start if it doesn't have oil. Check the fuel. We know that's good. It does have a really nice fuel level gauge window at the top. That really works out good. Make sure nothing's connected, nothing's on, all breakers are off. We are going to choke it since it's a cold start. You can see my breath out here. It is very, very cold today. Now we can take it to on and do a recoil cable pull method. We're going to do the electric start. So when I start it up, I got full choke. It's going to have a red light first, then it's going to go to an output indicator of green. It's going to be smooth out once I start pushing the choke in. So let's go ahead and try to start it. Choke it in. .40-volt output. Output is good. Very, very smooth. Go ahead and stop. Okay, we'll go ahead and stopped it. Now typically you want to make sure all your loads are turned off, the generator is no output, and then you can turn it off and let it cool down. Very, very nice. Shows your output voltage right there. And you see we've got output indicator green, overload alarm, low oil alarm. That'll prevent you from starting it. Here's our DC output. Okay, you've got a DC breaker. You've got your 12 volt electrical plug. You've got USB ports, very, very nice. We've got our 30 amp AC breaker. It's nicely protected by a thing. You got a reset for it. And of course we've got 30 amp 240 connection, 4-prong. We've got our circuit breakers right here for our 120. These are 20 amp, and these are GFCI, ground fault circuit interrupted protected breakers. So you can reset and trip those. This is a very, very nice generator. We need to get down to the log home, get this thing to use before we have a very, very bad situation. Now typically you'll have a 220 connection to the house. The log home is not set up for 220 yet, so we're just going to do a 120 on that single phase and get the things we needed power up through the breaker panel. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. Showed you how to do that before. We do not have the log home set up for emergency power yet. We're going to have that generator connection out in the shop, and the shop is still yet to be wired up. So we're going to do this the old-fashioned way, bring in 120, not 240. So we'll have a single phase in the house powering up, which will get our hot water heater powered up, some lights, and some other things. We'll power up a electric space heater to keep Grandma Carol warm tonight. So that should be enough to get till they get either power back tonight or power back tomorrow, and I can get a 240 connection and get her all set up through the dryer connection, and it'd be a safe 240 connection. Well, we decided to go ahead and do the power the safe way from the generator. We ran extension cords each output into the house. We've got a heater going. We've got the hot water heater backup power on. We've got the heat strip power on for it. We've got lamps. So we got everything Grandma Carol needs until the power comes back. So this is a safer way to do it. You don't ever want to have a chance backfeeding to your power grid. The log home, the farmhouse at the Ridge, we've got ours set up for a generator. This log home is not set up that way yet. So we are powered, we are heat, and we are done for now. So guys, I hope you enjoyed watching us set up that new Predator 8750 inverter generator. That thing is pretty awesome. I can't wait to use it for projects around the Ridge, and hopefully I don't lose power and have to use it at my house, but I'm sure it's going to happen at some point. So guys, until next time, I hope you've subscribed to RidgeLife, hit the notification bell to be notified anytime a new video comes out, and as always, I hope everyone has a blessed day, and go RidgeLife.